Hey folks, Phil from the future here. The recommended round for this league is round 2. I'm not going to tell you why, I don't want to spoil it, but it's good. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today we're going to be playing with Brent B's Sylvan Plug deck list. Sylvan Plug you know what, never mind, the deck name's not important, I guess. Um, yeah, so Brent sent me this deck list months and months ago when Undermountain Adventurer actually first came out. And Sylvan Plug is a deck list that seeks to lock down the game with hate pieces like Trinisphere, Chalice of the Void, and Choke, and then win the game with large Stompy threats. So essentially, we're going to be somewhat similar to the Mono Green Dinosaur Stompy list that I played about a week ago. Brent's original version had Battle Mammoth, which was a creature with Foretell, but I have opted to turn that into Thrun, Breaker of Silence. I was very impressed by this card last week, and I think the competition at the 5 mana slot is pretty high. Like, these are different cards. Thrun, I think, is going to be better in combat, and the Uncounterable, I think, tilts it over the line over Battle Mammoth, but Battle Mammoth is notably going to be better versus Swords to Plowshares than Thrun is. So, there's that. And one of the things that I think makes Brent's deck list so interesting is Jewel Thief. This is straight up a common. It is just something that you can cast off like an Ancient Tomb and a Spirit Guide, or an Ancient Tomb and a Chrome Mox, and it's just a 3/3 Vigilant Trample that gives you a treasure token that works you towards that 4th mana or 5th mana for your next threat. Rounding it out here, we have Green Sun, which just serves as additional copies of all of our threats. And we're going to just include 2 silver bullets in game 1. We're going to have Endurance for the graveyard-based decks and Questing Beast, or, sometimes you just need a hasty creature. Sometimes you just need something that can get through a board of small creatures. And I like having this utility. And then in the sideboard, we'll pick up some other things like Collector Oof and a big fat Carnage Tyrant to top off the curve. Of the stuff in the sideboard here, most of this is probably going to be stuff that you recognize, but I'm going to go ahead and pull out this Primal Might here. Target creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, then it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So, I can cast this for 0, and this can be a 1 green fight spell, and my creatures are big, so I should usually win fights. Or I can turn this into a mana sink that helps kill my opponent and really make sure that I win the fight come endgame. And now that we are in this world where Undermountain Adventurer exists, and realistically making 6 green mana is a thing that can happen, Primal Might seems kind of hilarious. I don't know whether or not it's actively good, but it's very funny. And rounding out the deck list, we have Turn Timber Symbiosis, which can be imprinted under Chrome Mox or help us kind of in the end game turn a land into a creature. So we're going to keep seeing how competitive these mono green Stompy decks can be. I think I did pretty well with the Dinosaur Stompy last time. I think it was a 4-1. I don't remember exactly. I remember having a lot of fun in that league. Yeah, so let's see how it runs today. If you're new here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. And if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins because it makes Shifting Ceratops happy. Let's battle. I have a weird first hand here. So this is a Green Sun for a Dryad Arbor. That's 2 mana. Then I have 4 mana, 5 mana, 6 mana on turn 2. I think this is a keep, even though I don't have the big fat dumb thing innately in hand. I'll be a little soft to counterspells, but if I'm playing against a counterspell deck, hopefully Sylvan Library digs me out of that as the game goes longer. And we are playing against a counterspell deck. Presumably some sort of blue-red Delvery nonsense. Ooh, maybe not. I mean, could still be. Alright, that is no shuffle with the Ponder. And a Chalice as my draw. Not knowing what my opponent is playing, Chalice of the Void is almost certainly the correct play here. I love getting me a Dryad Arbor and fixing my mana, but my opponent could be playing a combo deck where taking them off the cantrips is just incredibly important. This will slow me down, and it'll noticeably slow me down, but I can just cast a Green Sun next turn. Oh, I didn't want to see that. I didn't want to see that at all. The sneak attack, yeah. I don't realistically beat this. I don't think, like, as long as this puts in, like, an Emrakul or an Atraxa or Grizzlebrand or whatever, like, it is going to wreck me if they find the Petal to just literally kill me this turn. I am not going to be good against this deck. Show and Tell historically is quite good versus Chalice of the Void decks. Alright. How bad is it? 22 bad. Alright, I'm dead. GG's. Opponent turn 2'd me. Ye old dinosaur deck is going to have trouble here. So I do not need Endurance here. I do not need Questing Beast here. Those cards can go. I just gotta, like, go fast. So in theory, I want more Trinispheres. They're not great. They don't stop the win conditions, but they stop some of the Lotus Petal nonsense. I'll play Rex Sage for a show and tell target. I'll probably play Carpet and Choke, even though neither is particularly good. I do not have time for Sylvan Library. I don't think I want to go Collector Oof levels of deep. We'll need to cut 3 cards from here. Green Sun? Run? Jewel Thief? Maybe Jewel Thief isn't high enough impact here. I could see that. This is not a matchup that I want to play. Actually, I find it very difficult for me to win this. I do not have enough mana. That's a weird one. With any one actual green source, I think I keep this. It's just so awkward. I think I go to 5. Yes. This is a keep. Undermountain Adventurer always goes back. I think I throw back this. The question is just, like, when do I play Chalice? I think it's on turn 1. I think I just gotta try to steal this game by putting a Chalice on 1 and then eventually choking my opponent. I don't know, like, if I do the Chalice on 1, they're not as likely to tap mana sources in a way that's relevant. But here we are. We've gotten movement from my opponent. It is a daze, sure. I mean, I'm legitimately happy setting my opponent back land drops. Like, that is very relevant time for me. 8, well, I think my life total be damned here. I think I'm just going to play this card around a daze. I need to start punching my opponent. And, like, 3 life matters because it's the difference between dying to 1 Emrakul hit and not dying to 1 Emrakul hit, but I think an Emrakul obliterating 6 of my permanents just kills me anyway. Alright. Ye old Vigilant 3/3 can get on in there. And I will just make my land drops to increase my permanent count for... I guess increasing my permanent count for Emrakul doesn't matter, but still just going to play my stuff. I'm just cold to a show and tell. See if it happens. Ooh, it doesn't. I dodge. That's not the worst here. I'll go ahead and hold that in case my opponent, like, taps out for a sneak attack and then passes the turn. Okay. Sneak attack and activate is now on the table. Ooh, but my opponent doesn't have it. Okay. Big dumb hasty green creature, please? That's a big dumb hasty green creature, right? For X is 4, that's 5 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 5 mana. Do I play this so that I can activate around or play around double days? Sneak attack plus activate already probably beats me. I probably do this. Yeah, X is 4. I've played this around a Spell Pierce as well. I think this is better than initiative. Activate this. Pick up haste. This is now 8 damage, and a Grizzlebrand activation is off the table. Oh, there's a long pause here. Okay, my opponent has something here. Nope. Okay. They are doing something. Intuition? Petty theft on Chalice. Okay. So presumably they've got a brainstorm that they wanted to cast. I guess they can play that as a creature. They are going to do that as a creature. That's not blocking, though. This can only block creatures with flying. So my opponent goes to 2. They are very much dead next turn. I think I just play this on 0 to stop Lotus Petals because it does something in the short term. Cool. So my opponent's Ancient Tomb is now off. Upkeep Brainstorm is weird. Are you predicting? I don't think you have the mana to Brainstorm and predict. Because you can't have Ancient Tomb. It would cost you Volk to do predict. Why did we do that in the upkeep? Like, I don't get it. Okay, you've got an Omniscience. Let's see where this goes. That's a shuffle. All right. Emrakul will get there. That will kill me. My opponent, from my side of the battlefield, looks like they played that turn poorly. I don't know if I'm missing something about upkeep Brainstorm there. I don't think I am. Okay. I would like a tiny bit more mana with this hand, but I think this is going to be a keep. When you can play a turn 1 Trinisphere, you usually just do. I'm going to imprint either Endurance or Thrun here because the green is a little limiting as of right now. I think I'm just going to imprint the more expensive one. Imprint Thrun, City, Trinisphere, and we'll see if this just beats my opponent. Or we'll see if I get wastelanded and, like, die. That's very much a thing that can happen, too. Ooh, we're probably playing against Death and Taxes here. In which case, an early initiative creature is going to be very, very strong. Second one will be even stronger. Grab a basic, don't need to make a land. Yeah, yep. Also 60 card D&T. So even though Trinisphere just won me that game, I'm going to cut it versus what I assume is Death and Taxes. I could be wrong here. Runs a little awkward versus Caracas. Chalice is not great versus that deck, but stops Source to Plowshares, which is very specifically good against my creature set, so I'm going to have to think about that. I always want Rex Sage. I probably always want Collector Oof. I probably always want the Primal Mites. What happens if I cut Chalice when I am on the draw? I can just play higher density of creatures. Need a 6/5, 7/6 trample hexproof in here as a target? No, I think these are big enough for most of my opponent's stuff. It's also possible they are not Death and Taxes, but I'm going to treat them like Death and Taxes until I have a reason not to. This is fine. Turn 1 Collector Oof into turn 2 Undermountain Adventurer. Like, I am A-okay with that. Actually, I might not play turn 1 Collector Oof now that I'm looking at this again. Other turn 1 Flagstones. Maybe we're playing against a Pox variant. It's so awkward if my opponent has Thalia and I don't play Chrome Mox this turn. I'm going to play Chrome Mox this turn, and maybe this eats a Prismatic Ending or something, and I'm a little bit sad about it. I get 2 for 1. Yeah, bye. Hushbringer. Acceptable. That means my plan has changed. My initiative stuff doesn't happen anymore. Plan is Operation Dinosaur Stompy. Which looks like a good plan, honestly. Because I get to just make a dinosaur, activate that, pitching a Spirit Guide, give it haste, and crash in for 5. My opponent goes to 15, and I have, like, very reasonable bodies as backup plans. Yeah, and that Wasteland is not gonna do as much as my opponent wants it to here. Green Sun's fine. Probably a mana dork. Kind of a mana dork. Yeah, that's fine. I am good with eating this damage, and then I'll have to decide whether or not I want to play like a 3/4 at sorcery speed or just drop Endurance. I'm probably just going to drop Endurance. Yeah, I think that's my plan. And I have the potential of taking the initiative. My opponent to 11. I think I chalk for this. I don't know. Endurance is less telegraphed if I just play City of Traders, but 5 mana is something that matters for Thrun. I will go ahead and take that damage. Yeah, your Endurance is fine. I don't want to pitch cast mine. I guess I could have thought about it last turn. All right, no attacks from my opponent. End of turn, I will drop Endurance. Maze of Ith as a land drop is brutal. Another Shifting Ceratops is brutal in a different way. Actually, let's tap that, leaving the basic up. Shouldn't really matter, though. Alright. Ceratops. Ceratops has haste. Ooh, it is swords. Sure. Get haste. I'll swing with both. One gets mazed, the other potentially trades with a creature here. They're just gonna let those creatures bounce. That's fine. I'm not in the greatest situation after that Swords to Plowshares. I am going to have the larger number of bodies. But Elvish Reclaimer and Flagstones can kind of start doing some cool stuff. Alright, my opponent's going to take some chip shots at me. That's fine. Giver of Runes. That's interesting and not super commonly played. Alright, and they're just fetching to get around generic nonsense. My attack doesn't actually accomplish anything, right? Just block, maze, and leaves me more prone to take damage. Alright, I'm not going to attack then. My initiative stuff does not do initiative stuff here. And if my opponent randomly makes a Hushbringer attack, I can give Shifting Ceratops reach. Okay, they are purely just turning that into mana. That's fine. And then Stage happens. I'm not beating Dark Depths. Alright, my opponent did not make a bad attack. Unfortunate for me. Hey, how does this read? Combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. Maze is prevent all combat damage. Nice. That's what I thought, but it's been a hot minute. Questing Beast. Send him. Math is for blockers. Yep. Snuff out as their last card. F. Okay, so my opponent is just going to have those creatures bounce. And they'll activate Reclaimer. Yep. It found Dark Depths. The Snuff Out is just brutal. Yeah, so this puts my opponent to 3. Because the Questing Beast still gets to do damage. But I imagine that I can't beat the Dark Depths here. Plus 4 onboard creatures. I just lost my reach creature when my Shifting Ceratops ate Snuff Out. So we'll turn creature sideways and see if my opponent fumbles combat somehow. But, well, I guess Endurance is reach, but Giver is active. Yeah, I'm dead on the backswing, so let's see if my opponent messes up somehow. That'll produce Merit Lodge. Endurance is unblocked with Questing Beast stopping Mazavith from preventing damage. GG. Play to your outs. Alright, round 3. We're starting with a Chalice on 1, and we'll kind of go from there based on how this game goes. But I imagine this game is turn 1 Chalice, turn 2 Trinisphere, and we'll start getting saucy from there. Okay, cool. Wasteland's very strong in this specific instance. I need to protect this green source, so I'm going to play out another Ancient Tomb and pass. We are playing against some sort of Delver deck here. I'm in a pretty strong position. I don't think I play that. I think I played this. And I am just going to jam Trinispheres at my opponent here. Which I assume this gets dazed or forced or whatever. It does get dazed. That's fine. I try again next turn. Hopefully before a threat gets down. It should be before a threat gets down. There's a Chalice on 1. Like, that is how that works. Yeah, but this just buys so much time. And I am going to take 2 to play around days, even though, like, Yavimaya can protect me. And now I should be free to do something big and dumb. It may just be Questing Beast. Questing Beast is always hasty. Shifting Ceratops can be hasty. I'm going to play out Shifting Ceratops now. It's pro-blue and can attack through, like, a Murktide Regent. That is something that very much does matter. Alright, there's an end of turn fetch, and I'm presuming that this is more to put a card in graveyard than anything else. Alright, sure. True Name Nemesis. That is fine. Don't think I care about that. I care about Trample here. Or no, I don't care about Trample because I'm pro-blue. Oh, this can actually be blocked by that. So I guess I just green sun for 4. Go to 10. Yeah, that should be fine. Green sun for 4. Finds me another Ceratops. I can't give it haste this turn. But, like, 10 pro blue power should be fine with Chalice and Trinisphere both in play most of the time. Again, my opponent needs, like, a Murktide Regent size card in order to kind of keep up here. Yeah, they're forced into attacking. And I have lethal this turn, assuming Questing Beast does resolve. City. There is a Questing Beast. This represents 14 damage. My opponent could counter it. They did not. 14. Brazen Borrower. Brazen Borrower. That's fine. Alright, my opponent takes 10, goes to 3. These are, again, pro blue. I think yeah. Alright, so we're playing against something in the blue-red Delver wheelhouse. Carpets are great. Endurance is great. Choke is playable. Primal Might and Carnage Tyrant are like tier 3, but I'll probably end up playing Primal Might. I don't know about Carnage Tyrant. I really don't like Trinisphere on the draw versus these sorts of decks. They can just play a threat early, and then you're kind of behind it forever. Not even sure that I'm going to play Chalice. The cards that I am scared of are named Murktide Regent. Also helps to blank meltdowns that my opponent will probably bring in versus me. Carpets and Endurances are the easy ones, and then it's a little harder from there. Maybe I don't choke on the draw. Play Primal Might as removal spells. Keep the Jewel Thieves. I could legitimately consider going down Undermountain Adventurer. I could also consider going down Questing Beast, but like haste off an endgame Green Sun is still kind of nice, and it is still just a 4/4 butt. Oh, I don't want Library. Library can become some number of chokes very comfortably. 2 chokes on the draw. I accept. Yeah, this hand is totally fine. Is it sexy? No. Is it effective? Yes. Like, I will do a lot of damage to myself with Ancient Tomb, I guess is like the biggest downside of this hand, but like Jewel Thief is really frustrating bait because if you don't do it, I can just potentially go up to amounts of mana that allow me to do nonsense that's just completely uncounterable. This is a turn Timber Symbiosis turn. Just like play that tapped, let that get wastelanded. Or do I just jam a Jewel Thief anyway? I think I play a bad land and try to get it wastelanded. A little weird. I may just be wrong for doing that. Yeah. But I'm like much happier with that exchange than the exchange of Wasteland for Ancient Tomb. Yeah, and this is going to let me curve out so much better. I wouldn't be surprised if this is just like fetch daze this. But if I don't get wastelanded again, I just have uncounterable Shifting Ceratops maybe into Thrun. Alright. I get my treasure. Alright, am I getting bolted? Good with getting bolted. Like, please use resources on Jewel Thief. Okay, cool. No follow-up Wasteland is insane for me. That just means Shifting Ceratops gets to do Shifting Ceratops stuff. Would I prefer to Thrun this turn? I can Thrun this turn and then Hasty Ceratops next turn. That attacks for 10 next turn. Thrun is worse against a true name that's played out. Thrun is worse against Brazen Borrower. Yeah, I just Shifting Ceratops then. I will take the 2 so that I can give it haste this turn. Activate that with treasure. Hide the Spirit Guide. Ooh, are you double bolting? Haste. Yeah. Okay. That is 1 bolt on a Shifting Ceratops. And to no other play. Okay. Right, that's a true name Nemesis. That is fine. I can trample over that, and I'm also just pro blue anyway. Just get in there. Just get in there, friend. Alright, my opponent goes to 8. I want to play the rest of this turn. Probably just Thrun. Just uncounterable. Yeah, my opponent says their mouse went wide. I think I just used the Spirit Guide. to do this. We'll go ahead, drop an uncounterable Thrun, and play that. Apt, call it a turn. All right, and my opponent is very dead here. Their lightning bolt mouse error is like a problem, but like I could be taking the initiative here. I have indestructible creatures. It's hard for them to come back from that. I'd like to offer a big thank you before the next round to Ben P, Lucas S, Pink Hat Boy, Stephen N, and Foo. Thank you very much for your support via Patreon. It means the world, and it helps to keep the old lights on at Thraben University. Hey, I just paid that bill. I just paid that bill. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Back to the magic. Okay, unfortunately, my initial hand doesn't have green sources, so this is an auto mulligan. Keep. I have to figure out how I'm doing this. I assume it's probably Chromox, Imprint, Turn Timber, Symbiosis, play. Well, Dryad Arbor goes back. Let's start there. My opponent has gone to 5. Chalice can be okay versus an unfair deck, but my opponent is on the play, so Reanimator. Nope. Goblins. I am not prepared for turn 1 Goblin Lackey. Also, the Void not looking strong here. Ugh. Okay. I'm gonna cast a Chromox. I definitely don't need 2 libraries. And I'm going to play 1 in the hopes that I can use this to find a creature that can keep up with whatever my opponent is about to put into play. But I might just get punched in the face, and then my opponent drops Muxus. Forest probably means that we're playing against food chain goblins specifically. Fuck! No! Okay. No, that's fine. It's not fine. Like, narrator's voice, it's very much not fine. With Fury coming too, to like pitch cast and destroy whatever big dumb creature that I play. I'm gonna take a look at these cards and then concede. Yeah. That's nope. Sideboard's not built for this matchup. Like, we'll probably board in fair creatures. I want to board out my Chalices and Trinispheres in all likelihood. Like, my opponent's just a Cavernous Souls deck, so Chalice on 1 to try to stop Lackey isn't actually super reasonable. I always want to play Primal Might. I always need Rex Sage. And then I need 4 more cards. Thrun Trample. Thrun Tramples. Maybe when I'm on the play, I do play Chalice. But, does not feel like a matchup that brings me joy. I can play a Jewel Thief on turn 1 and have a Primal Might to fight something. Triple Ancient Tomb with Sylvan Library is not exactly a combo. Am I keeping it anyway? Chromox, Imprint, Library, Primal Might. I'm so reliant on the top of the library to do something cool here if I keep this. I'm gonna mull that. This is not keepable. I put back the Dryad Arbor. Green Sun is Dryad Arbor. I have 3 mana on turn 2. I'm not playing something relevant. We're going back in. A, yikes. B, keep. I need to put back 2 of these. Endurance always goes back. Keep Ceratops? Question mark? Over Undermountain Adventurer? Definitely unsure about that. I don't really love taking the Chalice gamble as, like, did I stop a Goblin Lackey or Ignoble Hierarch hand and just cheese a game? But I think, yeah. Exactly what I was talking about. Okay. Yep. This is why I normally try to board out these cards, but I don't think my board is super great at this matchup. It's not like we're in a green-red Stompy deck like I played recently where we have like Fiery Confluences and stuff out of the board to just mop up this stuff. Takes so much damage from my own lands. Taking a Lightning Axe worth of damage next turn. Okay, there's a Tomb from my opponent. To gut. True Soul Zealot. Whenever you attack, you may sacrifice another creature or an artifact. If you do, you get a 4/1 skeleton with menace that's tapped and attacking. So my opponent might just go ahead and convert creatures here. That's fine. It's pretty aggressive. That helps me a little bit in terms of taking damage, but like a 4/1 menace lines up pretty well versus a 5/4 trampler. I think I'm somewhat likely to just get overrun here. My opponent has the first attack with their creature, and I'm already at the lower life total because of Ancient Tomb. Sting Scourger. Oh, yeah. So I just eat 6 damage this turn. Oh gosh, it's not an attacking creature, it's just a creature. That's gross. I think I'll show myself the door here. GG. Okay. This is a weird one. I actually feel like this is probably a keep. I think I play turn 1 Chalice, and then with any mana source, I have a turn 2 Undermountain Adventurer. Let's try that out. First Chrome Mox imprints Green Sun. The second Chrome Mox will take out Jewel Thief. And we'll see if Chalice on 1 steals a game. It might not. It is a basic island deck. We shut off cantrips. Now, unfortunately, we're chilling. I didn't want to keep Jewel Thief because I didn't feel like it was a high enough impact card, but I don't regret my decision. Alright. Ooh, it is a Tundra deck, so that means Prismatic Ending is coming to take out that Chalice. Oh shit, it's worse. Just going to eat it to Caldra. Yeah. Gamble did not pay off. So it looks like with the second island there that I might actually be playing against a legit Stoneblade control deck list. I have to keep in mind that this also could just be Cephalid Breakfast, though. So even though I'm probably dead, might keep playing for a couple of turns until my opponent does physically actually kill me. 6 damage in combat. Not leave me with a lot of time here. And it's not like Shifting Ceratops is going to beat Caldra in combat. Okay, that's a Prismatic Ending on one of my mana sources. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah. Mystic Sanctuary confirms that we're a control deck. I'm fine conceding there. So, Carpets, Choke in, Carnage Tyrant probably in, Library maybe in. So it's weird, I kind of have to figure out how I approach this. Because Stoneforge is a thing. I think I probably board out lock pieces and treat Carpet and Choke conceptually as my new lock pieces. That will get me to 60. Do I want Primal Might to try and fight against Stoneforges? About the only way I can do that. I can't fight the equipment once it's in play because Rexage destroys. I think I will do that, and then I'll board down 1 threat because I boarded up a threat. Jewel Thief, Endurance. Endurance can probably pretty reasonably go. Turn 1 Forest, turn 2 Ancient Tomb, Chrome Mox, Ceratops. I wish I had another threat. I think I have to keep it though. Land Pass. Yeah, I really want a 2-threat hand versus this deck because like Source of Plowshares is just so good. I guess if I draw, well, no, most other green cards I draw I'd keep over this. No shuffle on that Ponder. That is certainly not what I wanted to see. Chrome Mox imprints this, and then we'll go ahead and drop our Dino Friend, who is uncounterable. But like, this is just so bad versus Swords to Plowshares, and I'm just running on empty if Swords happens, and Stoneforge for Caldra is also a huge problem, so not feeling great, basically. Yep. That's rough, and that's not great either. Alright. Life's bad. See if there's like a true name or something that sticks here. Alright, it is a Stoneforge. I have my removal spell for it, but my creature, unfortunately, was answered. I can draw like a reasonable sized creature and then do a fight, though. Or, and hear me out, or alternatively, I can just draw another land. That's why I was very worried about this hand. Now the Cauldron gets into play, and it's very hard for me to actually win this game. Say, Livy. Just for reference, Boseiju does destroy, which is not going to work versus an indestructible piece of equipment. Such is life. I'm going to get smacked for 5. I think this is the end of the old Sylvan Plug League. Yeah. Yeah. That was a lot of mana all in a row there. GG. Alright, that brings us to a 2-3 finish at the end of this league. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Honestly, not that bad, but I feel limited by the deck itself. So in terms of being an initiative deck list, we're not very good at that because we only have 1 initiative creature. And I know we have Green Sun to like serve as additional copies of it, but a lot of the other initiative decks that I'm testing on the channel right now have like 12 initiative cards, and that density is just very high. In terms of acceleration, we do have a good amount of acceleration with like the lands, but we're trying to get up here sometimes, which is harder to do. And generally speaking, I felt more limited by what I was seeing on the other side of the table. There's more Stone Forges now. There was a decent amount of Swords to Plowshares on the other side of the battlefield today. When we were in this world where like there was so much Blue-Red Delver running around and like everything I was playing was immune to Lightning Bolt, like that felt so good. But now that things are shifting a little bit more towards white decks, with decks like Death and Taxes potentially like on the rise again, I think it's time to shelve the dinosaurs for a little while. I didn't get massive value out of Carpet Flowers and Choke today, partially because my opponents were getting ahead of me on board before I could resolve some of those things. Jewel Thief was reasonable. Like, it gave my opponents very awkward decisions about whether or not they actually want to expend resources on something like this. And, like, Shifting Ceratops was very good today. As was Questing Beast. Getting me out of that Maze of Ith situation was very good. But like, the deck list was reasonable in a different time. I wish this had been around before the EI ban so that I could have gotten to mess around with this. But I didn't super feel the power of Undermountain Adventurer in this deck list like I did when I was playing the red-green version. So, shaky sideways thumb for this one, I think, overall. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on the way out. It helps out a lot. If you have any thoughts about the deck building, feel free to go ahead and throw those in the comments, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!